Get higher, baby. Get higher, baby. Get higher, girl. Hey.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pageless Library. Me and Ryan are the knights of this Pageless Library. Ryan, how are you doing today?
Oh, not so bad.
That's good to hear. So here at Knights of the Pageless Library, this is a podcast, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that. And before we even get into anything, I want to start off with where you guys can get a hold of us. And at the end of this episode, too, Ryan, don't let me forget, we have to talk about the Audible originals that we want to look at.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, but before we get to that, so our email is at kotpl.pod@gmail.com, Twitter at the Pageless Library, YouTube, which Ryan does a really good job on, is at Knights of the Pageless Library, a Facebook page at Knights of the Pageless Library, and also on Reddit at r/kotpl. Okay, now today me and Ryan are looking at The Butterfly Effect with Jon Ronson. So this is not the movie that it's a whole different thing.
This is not with Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah, it does not have Ashton Kutcher in it. It is in fact like a documentary. I think it's a good way to put it.
It's pretty much exactly what it is. It's it's basically a documentary about the porn industry, the free porn industry.
Well, so the whole basis of the book is, right, it's the butterfly effect of this one guy kind of creating free online porn and what that did to a bunch of different people. So it's not necessarily about the porn industry, and it's about basically this guy named Fabian and what he did. And
well, kind of. So we'll kind of get into it, but because it is about that dude, and then the butterfly effect, for anybody who doesn't, that concept is like if a butterfly flaps its wings, even though it's such a small, minute thing, the theory is that it could potentially cause a hurricane on the other side of the world or whatever. So
right.
The concept behind this documentary series is kind of that this guy Fabian, the one thing he did caused a butterfly ripple effect that now basically affects the entire world. So
right. And it's done through like a series of interviews. So you get to hear both people talking. So it doesn't really have a narrator per se at all. Well, a little bit.
Well, I mean, technically, Jon Ronson. I keep wanting to call him Ron Johnson, but yeah.
Me too. Ron Johnson.
Jon Ronson is technically the narrator. He's the one who both wrote and directed this docu-series type thing, and he also is kind of technically the main narrator.
So this came out in 2017. And it actually, I think, was one of the very first Audible originals that came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like one of the very beginning Audible originals that came out.
Oh, okay.
And I'm pretty sure if you have Audible, it's 100% free.
Right. And if you want to buy it, it's $25, which I would not recommend that. But
really?
Oh, for $25? No.
No, that's way too much. It's not very long.
Yeah, it's only 3.5 hours long, so it's actually fairly short. This author, Ron Johnson, is, I think, pretty well known for this kind of documentary style of audiobooks that he does. So he actually has quite a few on Audible that I think are similar. They're kind of documentary type books. So that's, I think, his bread and butter there.
Well, he has a bunch of TED Talks too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and because I've listened to one that's where he talks about like the psychopath test, which is kind of interesting.
Well, he has a book called The Psychopath Test.
Yeah,
so
I think that's really, yeah, it was really good. It's really interesting. It's kind of scary too.
Interesting. So, I mean, does he make or break the story? I mean, like we said,
Eh.
it's kind of a series of interviews, so can't really ding him too much. I mean, he's not a professional narrator or anything, and mostly he's just asking questions. So,
And I don't
um,
think I actually kind of like this a lot. Actually, I find this I like this kind of like interview style where you get like the two voices talking to you.
yeah. So, I actually kind of do too. And this is very similar. If anybody listened to our episode of on Body of Proof, this is
Yeah.
very similar style to that. That's, I mean, kind of what this is. And this actually is a pretty good way to get your kind of documentary stuff in while you're doing other things, while you can't watch something. So,
Well, and I feel like a lot of the stuff in this, like that they would be like, if it was like a documentary for real, like where they were filming it, would be a little like it would be a little off-putting for a lot of the people I think that would actually want to listen to this.
right. And no, and that's exactly it. This subject matter, this was a good way to consume it for
Right.
that reason. Because I mean, I'll just say, during this documentary, this dude is like on the set of porn shoots
Oh
at
yeah, and you could
times.
totally hear it. So if you
Right.
don't like that, this book is not for you.
Right. And they give disclaimers that there are some sexually explicit
Yeah.
content, which I guess we should give that too, because after we break our spoiler wall,
Oh
we're
yeah.
going to talk about the whole thing. So here's your warning that there might be some explicit content that people might not want to hear. So
Yeah. So the 7-year-olds get out of here.
go listen to a different episode of ours, I guess.
Yes, please do that.
And then go write us an email, please.
Yeah, about how we're not a good Christian podcast.
Yeah, something like that.
So let's get into like, so yeah, we already talked about how much it costs. I'd say it's actually pretty easy to follow what's going on. It's not like there's a critical arc that's going on at any point. So you can like kind of drift in and out, and you kind of get the gist of what's happening.
Sure. Yeah, and I think it's short too, like I said, and but the pacing is pretty good on it. I mean,
It
he
is.
doesn't spend way too much time on one interview. He doesn't cut ones that are interesting short. He does a pretty good job.
So yeah, and I don't know. I'll let you go first if your recommendation.
If you can get this for free, for sure, I would recommend this. Just because it's short, it's quick, it's to the point, it's an interesting topic actually, and the way it's approached in this, I think, is well done. So I would say yes, but I would not pay for this. However, like this is also free with like a 30-day free trial, so it wouldn't be a bad one to kind of open up on. Just
Or
know that this is a documentary. This is not like an audio book. So
right, but if you already have Audible, you can totally. I think you can get it for freedom. Even, I think this is one of the ones that's always available if you are an Audible member.
for freedom, yeah,
Yeah,
America.
for freedom.
I didn't know that, but yeah, if you
I
can
think
get this
so.
for free, 100%. And that's not to say that I wouldn't support what this Jon Ronson guy is doing. I just think that $25 is steep for only a 3.5 hour.
Yeah, it is a
thing.
little expensive.
Like if this was like $5, $10 even at the most, maybe. $5 for sure, $10 maybe. $25, no. There's no way I would pay that much for it.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree with Ryan. I think I think it's super interesting. This is actually the second time I've listened to it, and I find it's super interesting. And I mean, I feel like everybody who listens to it can relate to it a little bit. If you can't, I don't know. If you
Well,
will.
yeah. Well, again, we'll just say not a good Christian
Yeah,
podcast.
we're not a good Christian podcast.
Bunch of heathens. But no, it is interesting and absolutely 100%. I would say, most people obviously have been affected by porn in some way, and this documentary kind of it basically talks about how the floodgates of free porn, opened up. It kind of changed the world, not just like the porn industry itself, but almost like the world in some ways. And it gets into exactly why, because of some other things now that are happening because of that.
Right.
But it is
So
very interesting subject matter.
yeah.
Sure.
And I would say if you're a fan of documentaries in general, I think you should check this out because they talk about a lot of super interesting things and a lot of stuff I didn't know was a thing until this.
Right.
But then kind of makes sense, I think, in this digital age that they're able to do stuff like that.
Sure.
So
No,
yeah,
and
I would
definitely,
recommend it, but don't buy it.
Right. Well, like I said, if it was cheaper, like I said, $5, absolutely, I would pay $5 for this for sure. Um, I just think 25 is just steep. When
Yeah,
$25 can also buy you, like a Monster Hunter book or something, something very
yeah,
long.
yeah,
So
and that you're probably gonna come back to more than once.
you're right, exactly, yeah. And this was the second time I listened to this too. I listened to it when we first got it, so I had forgot that I listened to it because it's so short. So yeah, this was the second time I listened to this too.
So let's get into spoilers.
Yeah, so here we go, passing the spoiler wall, passing the disturbing content wall,
Yeah,
possibly. So
yeah. So
all
viewer
bets are off now.
discretion is advised.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't. Let's just talk about what we found interesting. I think because I don't really want to go follow like the story beats. I
Well, so let's just
go ahead.
we'll I think we should quick hit on. So the very first thing that this kind of opens with is this man Fabian.
Oh yeah,
So
right. I forgot.
Jon Ronson talks to this guy Fabian. Fabian is basically the one who flapped the butterfly's wings, essentially. So what Fabian did was he found that he saw this gold nugget in free internet porn because he saw how much success YouTube was having at the time, with where it's basically just anybody can upload any kind of content they want to YouTube. But he thought, what if I did that just for porn, where anyone can take anything they want and upload it here? So basically what he started doing is he got like a loan to buy out several different companies, and then he created, essentially, did he buy Pornhub?
No, he made Pornhub.
Okay, so that's
I think
right.
so. He made Pornhub first. Like that's like what he got the money for. And then they were making so much money off that he just bought up all of the porn sites. Basically, he
Right.
basically
So
owns them all.
right, he basically does still. I mean, it's like a right. It's really kind of weird how it works in that way.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of the book goes into it a lot more, like the intricacies of like how he was able to do all this and
Right.
all that kind of stuff, which I find super duper interesting, like all the business side of it, because especially
Yeah.
like Fabian was like dealing in porn, but he's mostly like a programmer. So he like never really was like on set or anything like that. But he is the person who's profited the most from porn.
Right, and that's what we'll talk about this a little bit more because they talked to like current porn producers who used to make a lot of money producing porn by selling DVDs and stuff. Now they produce a video that they want to be on like a DVD, and he said like within possibly a few hours it'll be uploaded to Pornhub for free for anyone to view it. So he's like ruining porn producers, not on purpose necessarily. I mean, it is kind of interesting how it kind of plays out.
And I like that he's like talking to these porn actresses too, and it's because the way that it's all like search word based, like they only have like a brief window that they're popular because they need to be like a teen or a MILF or something like that. Like they have to be
Right.
like a tag word. And so
Because
he's like talking to these girls that like couldn't work for very long.
right. Yeah, because so when Jon Ronson interviews a couple of these girls, they'll say that too, and both of them and like the porn producers and stuff will say that like apparently back in the day, like you might see a girl having steady work for several years because all she's doing is just video after video after video. It doesn't necessarily matter what the subject matter, quote unquote, of the video was. However, now, like Bo said, uh, the the key thing is those search words. And exactly like he said, there's ones that are popular and ones that are not as interesting. And the tech nerds are now basically ruining it for both producers and these women because they are basically funneling things through search words only. Like no longer do you
Right.
just buy a DVD and you get what you get on the DVD. Now guys are going and searching, guys and girls, I guess I shouldn't discriminate here.
Yeah,
But
it's 2019.
but they're going and searching for their probably their thing. So, and it's interesting too. I really liked that how the like the porn producers they're like, yeah, the guys who are making the most money off porn have nothing to do with porn at all.
Yeah.
Like they they freaking sit in their freaking office and they just look at numbers. All right, what search term is most popular this week or month or whatever?
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. Like, I don't know, that part really kind of blew my mind. I didn't really think about like, oh, because he was talking about, he's like, yo, now we have to have like babysitter, nun, big butt, like all these things just to
Right.
even stay relevant because you want to trigger so many tag words.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of leads into what ultimately this kind of documentary is talking about too, is it's like that apparently plain sex is not interesting anymore. It's it's got to be
Yeah.
above and beyond, for it to make anybody any money.
Yeah. And they
And
yeah,
like
they like make no money now, and
yeah, that's what. So he interviews several like porn producers who are still trying to make a living by making like DVD porn, and they're basically saying that they can't hardly make any money doing it anymore
well, and
because
one thing he said that I thought was really interesting was that like he was in the business because he thought by now he would have made enough money that he didn't have to do it anymore. But
that he
now
could
that
retire. Yeah,
yeah, but now he doesn't. He has to keep making it because he's not making enough money.
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought
But
that
now
was
he
really
basically is
interesting.
he's making it, and he basically is working full time to barely even squeeze out a living anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it is interesting. So yeah, I would say then in the beginning, he was making enough money that yeah, he thought he was going to be able to retire before he was like 50 or something like that and be set. And now he said, I'm going to be making porn until well after I'm 50 years old.
Yeah.
Cuz he said I can't do anything else. That sounds like a personal problem. You should have learned to do something else, dummy.
Yeah. I mean,
I was kind of having a hard time feeling sorry for the guy because it's like, really, dude?
well,
Like,
it's not that I felt sorry for them. I just thought it was interesting, like that would happen to this business.
I know. I'm just saying, the way he was talking though, he almost wanted someone to feel sorry for him.
And
It's like,
I thought it was cool that like the whole bespoke porn thing, like that they like make specific, like people pay them to do specific videos and stuff like that. I thought that was really interesting.
right. So like that, it's now evolved to where people will send in specific requests, like they
Yeah.
want to see X, Y, and Z in the video, and then that's how those people make their money because whoever wants the request pays those people directly to make the movie.
Yeah. And there are some weird ones, which was really
Very,
interesting.
yeah. Well, and like weird and like kind of sad and like
Oh, super sad.
yeah. I mean,
Super. The stamp guy is kind of depressing.
that was kind of depressing to me. Yeah. It was kind of depressing to me and that was intense though, like weirdly intense that what he contacted three different people, right? Three different cuz he said he does one a year, right? And he
Yeah.
did it for like 10 years. So I guess it would have been over 10 different people he requested that from. Well, and then like the one guy who sent the request in for them to literally make a video convincing him not to commit suicide.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
Fuck, that
oh
one was
my God.
crazy. Oh my
He,
God, dude.
I know. He didn't even want like he didn't even ask for any sort of sexual anything. He just wanted basically a pretty girl to tell him that killing himself isn't worth it. I mean, that's insane.
It gets dark. It
Yeah,
gets pretty
it
dark.
does get a little dark, yeah. It goes to a place where you would not have seen it going is kind of the thing.
No,
Um,
yeah. It's fucking
so then
crazy.
there's the kid who's on the freaking sex offenders list. He's only like 18 years old,
Hmm.
and uh, he basically
Oh
got on
yeah,
the sex
that's
offenders
sad.
list. Yeah. Um, so he basically, because of him and this girl were basically like bonding over like anime and stuff like that. So, and this kid also has like several disorders. You know, he's got like ADHD, Asperger's, ADD. He listed a, autism, whatever. So he listed off his like disorders that he has. But him and this other girl were bonding kind of over like anime stuff. And she had to move, right? So then they were doing like long distance relationship basically.
Right.
And she was only like 17. He was already 18. Well, he was watching like hentai and anime porn also. So he thought she would think it was cool if he talked to her the way they talk in those types of videos. And he sent her basically a bunch of pictures, bunch of hentai porn pictures, as well as some very, very crude text messages. And of course, this girl told her mom, and they immediately like called the cops on this kid.
Yeah.
And he got in huge trouble. He's on the sex offender list for like 26 years or
Yeah.
something like that.
Which is and he can't like do anything. He can't like live anywhere. It's crazy.
Yeah, he can barely live even near any town because he can't be within so many feet of a park, of a school, of a daycare. Like, I mean, 100% there are people who should be on the sex offender list, but they even talk about uh, cases where there was like an 11-year-old kid
Yeah.
who got put on the sex offenders list because he was at some party with a bunch of other kids and they played some game where they all got naked and they had to turn the lights back on and everybody was going to be dressed by the time the lights came on and he wasn't dressed and this 6-year-old girl told her parents that she saw this 11-year-old naked and they turned the kid in.
Yeah.
That is insanity to me. Like,
It is
just
crazy.
insanity. And that kid is on the sex offenders list as an 11-year-old.
Yeah. It's nuts.
That whole part of the story just like was boggling my mind the whole time.
Me too.
Although I did not. This has nothing really to do with the whole story, but when the mom said they put that kid on medication,
Hmm.
and at 2 years old he threw their 900-pound TV across the room.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, could we be any more dramatic and not telling the truth? Like,
Yeah, that doesn't sound real.
no, because I'm sure it wasn't. It was a little, something might have happened, but that's obviously way exaggerated. But I digress because that doesn't really have anything to do with the main subject matter.
Yeah, it's true. And then I mean I like the end when the porn producer gets to talk to Fabian about like what he should do and it's like how it could make it better for the producers and stuff like that. So their
Right,
content's not just getting stolen immediately.
right. Well, and Fabian basically tells him, he's like, look, there are plenty of ways to protect your content. You copyright it, you thumbprint it, you do all these things, and then if it shows up for free, you sue whoever put it up. Like,
Yeah.
there's plenty of ways to protect your content. And then I did kind of like how Fabian defended himself when that producer kind of accused him of being a thief.
When
And
he's
Fabian
like, I'm not
says,
stealing anything, which
yeah,
he
he
wasn't.
says, I didn't steal anything from anyone. He said, I simply created a platform where people could upload content. That's all I did. And he's right. I mean, he is right.
Yeah, Fabian actually doesn't seem like a bad guy. I know this was kind of like making him out like a bad guy, but he just took advantage of something. Like he just saw something and knew he could make a shitload of money, and he did.
Well, and that's just it. I wouldn't even. That's just it. He saw his opportunity and he ran with it. You know, they, that producer says that he says if it wasn't you, it would have been someone else, and he's
Yeah.
right. It was only a matter of time before that type of thing happened. I mean, if Fabian just happens to be the one who grabbed that ball and ran with it. And you know what? More power to him. I mean,
Yeah, he's rich.
oh my God, yeah, they were talking about him. What he had at one point, he had like 18, 18 sports cars.
Yeah, Maseratis.
Yeah. Well, when he said that, I was like, because at first, sports car, every sports car is not expensive. But then when he said Maserati, I was like, okay, yeah, that's kind of expensive. But so I did think it's interesting that this one small thing that he did, creating this location for free pornography, basically almost overnight, like changed so many people's lives who were already in that industry.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
did.
that's essentially what the whole documentary is about. Is that the one small thing, the switch. So basically what they talk about too is before Fabian did this, we'll just say before he created Pornhub, where all the porn is free essentially, most porn sites were hidden behind a paywall, which means like as soon as you got there, you had to put your credit card information in to access the site. So they immediately can start charging you. Whereas Pornhub is not like that. All of it's
Nope.
free content. There is stuff you could pay for, should you choose to. And I thought that was interesting that they recommend to porn producers that want to do DVDs, hey, send us a abridged version of your movie. We'll put it up
Yeah.
for free, and it's basically like a commercial for your full
Mhm.
movie. And then we will include the link where people can go purchase it should they
Yeah.
want to. I did think that was kind of interesting. It is definitely though an interesting subject matter that, and I mean, even though the like we said, there is parts in this where Jon Ronson is on porn sets. You can, like both said, you can hear it in the
Yeah,
background.
you can.
It's actually pretty tastefully done. The whole documentary is.
Yeah,
It's
it
not
is.
like it's not raunchy. I mean, yeah, they use maybe a lot of language that some people might uh, find offensive, but then again, someone who's going to get offended should see the word pornography right on the front of this and know that they're probably going to be triggered if they're easily offended. So, but I think overall, it's actually pretty tastefully done for the subject matter.
I think so too. Yeah, and it's super interesting to me too. Like this is kind of graphic, but like when he's at like the gangbang of the one girl, and like all the dudes like when they take a break are like watching Pornhub to stay hard.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Well, and they talk about that because they said that like erectile dysfunction used to be in men, ages 35 to 50 or whatever. There was like, that was like the vast majority of it. And then now they're saying that um, you know, it's 70% of men with quotes have erectile dysfunction between like the ages of 19 and 25 or
Yeah.
something like that. Like they're saying, and they're blaming free. Uh,
Oh, hello? Oh, I think we might have lost Ryan, everybody. So right now it's just me. So what
by
Ryan
some
was. Oh,
simple.
are you back?
Yeah, was I
Oh,
out?
yeah, you were gone for a little while.
Was I really?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I was just talking
That's
to
okay.
myself.
Yeah, you totally were, but that's okay.
Oh, my bad.
Well, I mean, it's okay. So what were you saying? I think the last thing we heard was you were talking about how erectile dysfunction is like blamed on the free porn.
Yeah, so they essentially basically say they blame it on that because um, they claim that the free, easy access to pornography essentially makes it harder for men to be aroused by simple, sexual acts. Now
Yeah.
because of all the stuff they have access to on the internet, they think that all sexual acts should be more like that stuff that's easily accessible.
Right. Yeah, so it's giving everybody like a warped perception of sex.
Right. Oh, and then there's the one part where he interviews that uh, gal who does porn that her 13-year-old daughter at school, all the kids
Oh
saw
yeah, they
her.
found about her mom and they're like sending her
Yeah.
links to her mom's porn.
Yeah. And she was having sex in her daughter's bed
Mm.
in one of the videos.
To
Oh
be
my
honest, the
God.
mom is fucking crazy.
Oh yeah, 100%. I
Like,
thought so too, yeah.
what the fuck were you thinking?
Exactly. I thought so too. Especially, yeah, like seriously though. I mean, that's just it. How was she so naive to think that there's no way her daughter's gonna find out? Like,
Yeah, these kids have smartphones. They basically have access to everything ever.
right.
Because I have access to everything ever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, with the internet, as long as you got the internet, you pretty much do.
Yeah. And shooting one in her daughter's bed. What the fuck were you thinking? Come on. Oh, that one like bothers me. I still think about it. I'm like, because mom is a moron. This is such a bad example. I feel like. Oh, oh, hello.
Hello, can you hear me
Oh,
now?
yeah. Maybe
Wow. Okay.
it's
So my
getting
internet's
bad.
cutting in and out. I tried to tell you the internet in this hotel
Yeah,
is kind of
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
So
That's okay. It's okay. We're almost done.
yeah. So I mean, there's not a whole lot. Yeah, like we kind of just bounced around, talked about it a little bit, but I think we should just go ahead and before we have any more technical difficulties, maybe we should just we'll
Oh,
get these
we got to talk about the autumn
originals out of the way. Yeah. So the ones for November that came out on the the first day of the month, right? The first?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the ones available are, let's see, Climbing with Molly, Find Another Dream, House Chef's Holiday, Viva Durant, You Can Thank Me Later, and Midnight Sun. Sun, S-O-N.
Yeah. Not like S-U-N.
Right.
So yeah, if you guys could please like pick your top 2 and email us, and then we will do them both in an episode of the podcast.
In one episode or in two episodes?
I said, well, there'll be one episode apiece.
Oh yeah. So and then what we'll try to do is hopefully you guys can vote by Thursday next week, like by the 14th, and we can go ahead and have 2 ready to go probably by like maybe the 21st and the 28th. We could do 2 originals just to give ourselves enough time to listen to them also.
So yeah. So if you guys could please email us at kotpl.pod@gmail.com and let us know your top 2 favorites.
Yeah, that would be very helpful because that's what we would like this to kind of. We'd like to be able to inform everybody of the free ones and then also, let people pick which ones we do. So
yeah.
So what are we doing next time, Bo?
That's the thing is it was supposed to be one of these.
I know our list. We had a list all laid out for like the rest of the year. And now it's kind of screwed up, but
we could do a round table next time.
Yeah. Why don't we plan on that for next episode? Maybe we'll just do a round table since we currently don't have anything in the on deck.
And after that is To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, that's right. I need to download that so I can start listening to it, I'm sure.
Is it long?
I don't know. Never
We'll figure it out. So, yeah, I guess we'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.